Hi, Murugan. How are you?
Very good, Girija. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for being the first person to participate in the Sringaram podcast. This is something I've kind of wanted to do for a very long time, and the urge has kind of increased a lot, I think, in the past year or so. So I've been exploring this concept of love and love for life and love for self and all these sorts of things. And I really wanted you to be the first person to be on this because you're the first person who kind of really introduced this concept of celebration of life and, the glass is half full and all these sorts of really happy things. And, we've had some great, fun and adventure and all that sort of stuff. So would really like to, kind of talk to you about how you see life and what kind of gave you that whole attitude in life. Um, Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? Where are you? I know you should have been like a movie star, but you never ended up doing it.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Yes, exactly. It's not too late.
It's never too late.
It's
Listen, I
never
do
too
want to
late.
see myself on the silver screen one time. Uruvadi Patano. Big screen, like
Yes,
a build up music, slow mo
you would do
once.
so very well as well in that. I remember going to watch Gilly. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
Apni
Yeah.
Pode. We were
We went
there.
to see that. We watched the making of it.
Correct. The very first steps of Gilly, we were there, and you
Yeah,
should have been there,
yeah.
but Vijay was doing it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The stuff.
So tell me, what kind of what gave you that attitude in life in the first place? Like, I think the first time I ever saw you was at your brother's wedding, and you were dancing to Uppu Karuvadu. You know that song? And I
Yes.
still have that. All of us in my family have that memory of you. Like that's our introduction to Murugan, and he was just like full of life. Where did that come from for you? Like,
I don't know. I guess I must thank my life.
yeah.
Life has dealt me a great hand, an
Mm,
amazing hand. Uh, I've had, more ups than downs, or at least that's how I look at it. And so I've never been the kind of guy who wakes up and sort of sighs about the day, unless it's like a really, really, really horrible day.
mm,
So I don't know. It's just that's something that I've always been like that.
mm.
As you say, like I said, life has dealt me a good hand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that's really great as well. Um, I find myself, I think when I first met you as well, I was quite depressed. And that was the truth of it. And, like meeting you and kind of, hanging out with you and your friends and doing all that sort of stuff, that really put me into a mode of wanting to see more in life. And after that is when I went to London and kind of really got this different
Yeah.
perspective on life and stuff like that. But recently, and there are times when things go down and we kind of go into this mode of self-pity, I suppose, and focus on what things are going wrong as opposed to what things have gone right. This gratefulness attitude, is that something it just was born with you, or did someone teach you that?
No. Well, I don't know if anybody taught me that. Obviously, you read a lot of books, you watch some great movies,
Mm,
hear some, meet some amazing people in life. I guess it's the culmination. You and I, right? Mostly a culmination of the experiences we've had, and
mm,
then how we've sort of projected in our life. But I do believe this from a
mm,
very early age. I am 1 in 8 billion. So is every person who's 1 in 8 billion. And there's only one of us, right? I cannot live your life. I don't want to. You shouldn't live my life, and you shouldn't want to either, right? I have a custom made suit that I am going to wear, and I'm going to look good in it. I am
mm,
not going to try to wear your suit, and you shouldn't try to wear mine. So that I've always been fairly clear about. And I tell my kids that too. It's just not worth it.
mm,
That's one thing I've stuck to most of my life. The second thing I've stuck to most of my life, and at this fairly young age, my grandfather, my mom's dad, used to be like this, and I think maybe that's the biggest influence that this part of my attitude comes from. So
Mm.
he was the kind of guy who had more than a positive outlook in life. He was the guy who had a ownership outlook in life. What does that mean?
It
He
was.
would wake up with this attitude that not things would just work out. He would wake up with the attitude that whatever come my way, I will make it work out. Right. So he had that attitude. So almost like an ownership attitude of life. Like that day was his, this life is his, it's in his hands to the extent that it's in your hands, right? You get an earthquake and the earth swallows you, shit. Nothing for you to do. But apart
Yeah.
from that, your life is essentially what you make of it, you
Yeah.
know? So
100%.
those two stuck with me early on from life. Now, having said that, I don't want to get all this philosophical shit and all of that. I just want to say
You're
that
very
it's
philosophical, regardless of
it's
whether
not
you
like you
admit it
wake
or
up in
not.
the morning and go like, listen, I am going to make my life now. It just over time, it just becomes who you are, right? That's it. You just kind of go on,
Yeah.
but you catch yourself. I know
Yeah.
it's a long answer to a short question. Most people, I think, the happy ones, or at least the ones who are striving to be happy, do not think about being happy. The more you think about being happy, you will become more unhappy.
Mm.
The happy ones quickly pick up the times when they're unhappy and they quickly deal with it. That's
Mm.
it. If I find myself going down a rabbit hole of sadness or, like you said, self pity or anything like that, I quickly catch myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you know, this is nonsense. Wake up. So
Mm.
I think that's it. I don't need to every day tell myself, be happy, be this, be that, be positive. I don't need to tell me. I just need to catch myself in those few moments
Yeah.
before it spirals down a dark hole. That's it.
100%. Has there been anything in your life? And I know you said you've had a really good life and blessed life, and we pray that it is that way. It will be that way for you. I just know
Yeah.
it. But like, has there been moments which have been challenging for you, and how did you overcome those?
Yes, I think everybody's got them.
Mm.
Again, life has been good to me. And in turn, I try to be good to life,
Tell
right?
us more.
So most people are shitty to life. Life might be good to them, but most people are just shitty to life. You don't want to be that way.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. If if you get lemons, like if life deals you lemons,
Yeah.
few people make lemonade with it.
Mm.
Few people suck on that lemon and be sour for the rest of their life, right? So you got to be nice back to
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
right? So that's sort of the attitude that you got to have, because very, 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 very few people, if you actually look at like true statistics,
Mm.
have the privilege of you and me sitting and having a Zoom call today. We're
100%.
probably 5% of the world, if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is out hustling, is out making ends meet for half a day. Forget about the full day,
Mm.
right? So it's a tough place. And
Mm.
so, you just have to be nice back to life, and life will
Yeah.
being, in turn, being nice to you.
And it's really
Uh,
interesting, sorry to interrupt, but
no, no, no.
India
Yes,
itself, the attitude in India has always been that. I know I've seen so many people struggle when I was there, when I was living there or whatever. There was a lot more struggle in terms of financial and all that sort of stuff, but
yes.
there was always this idea of fun and, all that sort of stuff. And I feel like you've totally embodied that. So maybe it's a cultural thing too.
100%. Because I live now in the US. And
Mm,
when I grew up in a very small house with a lot of people,
mm,
and in a small community with a lot of people.
mm.
And everybody knew everybody. Right? We would go out and play all day. We would play on the street. We would walk into other people's houses. I could go to anybody's house and have like breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It didn't matter. They could come to my house. My neighbors' parents would reprimand me as much as my parents would reprimand me, but they would also encourage me as much as my parents. So it was like this really nice community, and I think a lot of that comes from there too, 100%, no doubt,
Yeah.
because we also get more isolated today. like,
So true.
even with your closest friends. And that is, when I grew up, I had, I don't know, like 2 dozen friends, maybe 3 dozen friends. I'm talking about
Mm.
2 dozen good friends. I spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And I barely have maybe half a dozen friends that I
Mm.
really know now. Right?
Mm.
This is
Mm.
life sort of become that way. And the more isolated you get, the less you
Mm.
just don't have anybody to feed off of, and you don't have anybody to feed to, and that
Yeah.
that cycle sort of perpetuates it. And we as human beings are attracted to just shit, just in general. We're just
Yeah.
made that way, right? We're
Yeah.
just like,
That's
we
true.
love. I mean, you pick up a newspaper, right? It sells because, I mean, nobody reads newspapers. It dates me, but online news. The thing that sells is sensation. Things that sells is like bad news. Good
That's
news
so
does not
true.
sell.
Do
Does
you
not sell.
watch
And
the
it's
news? Do you watch the
nah.
news?
I
I
actually tell my
don't.
wife, she'll tell me all this, like somebody got
Yeah.
stabbed and somebody got like abducted. I'm like, just don't tell me. I know it's happening in the world. I could, I've
Yeah.
lived here long enough to know, but I just don't want to know. And
Yeah.
even if I do know, I will close my eyes. I'll say a prayer and I'll just move on. That's it.
Mm.
Done.
Mm. You know what I
Janam liya.
struggle with nowadays, and this might be quite controversial, but it's happening, around the world with the whole genocides and everything that is. And how do you, like, it does get you down. I think a lot of people have found that now that we have more exposure to it, it's in our faces. Instagram's talking about it, TikTok's talking about it. I too come from a background of genocide, having
Yeah.
to leave one
Yeah.
country to
Yeah.
another. And so it's not something you can kind of unsee. It's there.
Yes.
And beyond that, how do we, I don't know, what are your thoughts on still maintaining a positive attitude about this world and about life when all of these things are happening? And I know that that's a big thing nowadays, where everyone's like, oh, it's just shit. It's just burning down.
Yeah.
Like,
That's it.
yeah,
I know. Armageddon is
Armageddon,
coming.
it's happening now. Or Kali
Yeah.
Yuga, as we call it. Yeah, tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, first things first, right? That is anchored with God. So that is the biggest part of my life, apart from my family, of course, and then friends, and then Rajnikant, Taleva,
Of course.
in that order.
Why
And of
not?
course, why
Yes.
not? God is centers your life, right? And by God, I'm Christian. I believe in Christ as the Savior and Messiah of humankind. And that is a very, very positive story, right? Where God saves you, takes your form, goes through the pain you did, dies on the cross for you, and comes back to life, defeating death and sin. And now you have a way to live that life with God. It's a fantastic fairy tale. So I truly believe in that. So that keeps me going. Number one. Two, I believe, so back up. This ownership thing that we talked about, this ownership attitude, more than a positive attitude. Ownership attitude also embodies the fact that you have to embrace the sheer shit that you've done in life,
Mm.
right? Because most people look at the world going, the world is a shitty place, but I am a really nice person. And
Mm.
that's the conflict. It's huge conflict because nobody, because 8 billion people, nobody will tell you that they're bad. If 8 billion people think they're good, the world has to be a good place. Clearly, it's not.
Yes.
So there is a fundamental mistake, fundamental misconception there. So I, at least early on, have figured out that the world is a shitty place because we are shitty people.
Mm.
We live in a fallen world. We are sinful by nature, and we are left to our own devices, or just bad, bad, bad people. If there was no speed limit, I would drive 200 kilometers, miles a day. I mean, on the street. If nobody was monitoring my taxes, I barely wouldn't pay it.
True.
Right? We, apart from laws and
Yeah.
rules, are just
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
So
I
a
guess
lot
that's
of the
why we
creation
need
in
the
this,
legal system.
but we need, that's what I'm saying. Like, one child. So I don't believe that I'm a great person. I believe I am also part of the cause of the shittiness in this world, which means I have to do my part for the goodness in this world.
True.
And so I'm not going to say, so when you look at the world and go, world is just a shitty place, but I'm a good person, and that bothers me. It's very difficult to go anywhere with that after that.
So
If you
true.
see yourself part of the problem, you will then start to figure out what this part of the solution is.
So true.
So now we can look at there, and then what happens is then you start to boil it down. Or like you're like, okay, fine, world is going to shit, great. Then we get like, okay, India is going to shit, okay. Then we go, Chennai is going to shit, okay. Then you narrow it down. Anna Nagar is going to shit.
Hey,
You're like,
never.
you're like, what can I do about that?
Yeah.
Because I'm part of the problem. And then you go, okay, maybe, just maybe something, and everybody's got a passion, right? Somebody will say, you know what, I'm going to keep the street clean. So every day, no matter what, I'm going to go out and just pick the dirt off the street. And that's just what I would do. No matter what the consequence, no matter what the result is, very next second, the road might get dirty, but I just don't give a shit. I'm just going to go do it. And one of the things for me is, I going to loop it to a passion project is children begging on this. And that's something that I just cannot stand. And my small solution of the bigger problem and the problem that I've created in this world is to then go and say, okay, fine, we're going to do something about it. I think that's all we can truly do. And some of us, by us, I mean like the human race, take this to a whole different level, like the Mahatma Gandhis of the world, the Nelson Mandelas of the world, right? They take it to a whole different level and then truly immerse themselves into it. Because they also realize at some point that they were part of the bigger problem. And now they have to
be Gandhi's book is just full of not self-doubt. What is it? He really identifies the issues within himself, and he really tries to change everything about himself and this whole concept of self-discipline. And you're right. If we do have more self-discipline, I think the world will definitely be like a better place. 100%.
It's not self-discipline, self-righteousness. Everybody needs to take themselves less seriously. It's step one.
Yeah.
You are not that important. I am not that important. Okay. If you look at the cosmic world, 13.8 billion years ago, where there are over 2 trillion stars, 2 trillion galaxies. Each galaxy has about 400 billion stars. You can't even write that on a piece of paper. That's how many zeros there are. Yeah. We're a speck in a speck of a speck of a speck. So let's not take each other so seriously. Okay. And then you just have to have fun with it. Yeah. What else is there?
100%. And let's talk about this one little contribution you made. You have an orphanage. Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
So a friend of ours created this orphanage many years ago. I think like 20 years ago or something like that. In Hubli, Karnataka. And over time, he just couldn't financially support it, couldn't raise funds, just was struggling. So my wife and I decided we're going to adopt it. So we essentially took over the orphanage. We do fundraisers for it every year. We've done it now for 14 years, I think. Awesome. We pretty much do everything for the orphanage. The founders' family still lives in the orphanage. They are sort of the caretakers of the orphanage. So that's great. But yeah, we have 18 kids, 19 kids actually. Kids are sort of, they're in flux. Indian orphanage is a little bit different from other like children's homes because we don't discriminate, as in we pretty much say anybody who's welcome into our children's home based on certain criteria. So we don't take newborns because we're just not equipped for it. So a kid has to be at least 5 years old. So sort of self-sufficient, and not self-sufficient, but sufficient enough. We just don't have the facility to care for infants. And then we also don't have the facility to care for somebody who's in sort of college age. So somewhere between 5 and 16, 17, high school age, that's sort of our sweet spot. And we've got kids who've grown up there all their lives and moved on. We've got kids who would come for the summer because they don't have anywhere else to go. Yeah. We have kids who would come just for the school year because their parents cannot afford to send them to school when they don't have a place to stay. So they would come and live with us, and we'll send them to school and blah 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 blah. And then some of them go see their parents. So we've got a gamut of people, truly kids who no family, no parents, no nothing, and then kids who have a family but just can't afford to do anything. So we
Mm.
cater to the entire gamut. Mostly girls. Uh,
Yep.
Also because you know I hate this whole like women stuff that happens in India. So we've
Yeah.
over time tried to not that like male children are not important, but feel
Mm.
like
I feel that.
female female children are dealt a really bad hand, especially in rural areas. So we tried to slowly skew our efforts to where it's needed most.
Um, okay. That so with these kids and the responsibility you've kind of taken on, that must be quite a. Do you ever sit and worry? You obviously wouldn't worry about
அப்படிலாம் think பண்ண முடியாதுமா. You cannot
it.
cannot let yourself think that. If I start
Yeah.
worrying, if you start worrying, if the world starts worrying,
Yeah.
it would just be a really, really, really boring place to live.
Yeah. I think
You
that's
can only worry
happened
about
though in this world right now. There's a lot of worry. I,
too much, too much. Now, like I tell my kids, if you're going to worry about something, you
do
got to do something about it. If you cannot do something about it, don't worry about it. At least try to do something about it. So, if you worry about the fact that your hair doesn't look great, because that's where my son's at right now, 11,
Mm.
wants to
Yeah.
look cool
Yeah.
for the ladies, right?
Already.
Go get a haircut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
do some research to figure out what kind of haircut you want. Be
Yeah.
very specific about it.
Yeah.
Take a picture or a video to the hairdresser. I will make the appointment. Tell him exactly what you want. Get the product that you want on your hair, and just take care of it. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And this logic and this like simple, you know, process applies to changing the world.
Yeah.
Same thing people have done, right? Same thing the greats have done. Found a problem, started with a simple way to process it,
Mhm.
made a small little plan to get at it, and just kept going and going and going. That's it. That's really all you can do about it.
So true.
Rather than now, the corollary of that is my son sitting, oh my God, my hair is shitty. Oh my God, that hair is great. The other person's hair is great. This boy's hair is so cool. That's it. There's nothing. You're just gonna sit there and it's
Yeah.
just gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Right? Now let's say he tried it. Let's say he went through the entire thing, put put the most effort he can, and the hair still looks bad, like not so nice.
Yeah.
Then that's the hand you were dealt. Your
Yes.
hair is just not meant to look like that. So step
Yeah.
two, then you figure out for your face, for your whatever like persona, what looks good.
Yeah.
Then you start to say, you know what, I tried this. This is not my thing. This is my thing. And then you
Mm.
take complete ownership of it. You take complete like, I am this.
Yeah.
That's where then your whole perspective changes. Then you're like, great, this is
And
mine. I
and
love it.
that's
I took
one
it
thing
over.
about you, sorry, that I have totally admired from the get-go. It is the fact that you have been content with who you are. Like
அதுக்கு மேல என்னமா இருக்கு?
you're like இதான் அவ்வளவுதான்.
அவ்வளவுதான். போதும்.
அவ்வளவுதான். And that's been awesome. I'll tell you where all this is leading. You're like, why are you doing this for Shastram? Is probably a question that's come to you. Because it's a dance thing, Shastram's all about Indian classical dance, and you're not dancing right now. So why am I talking to you about all of this? But one
Right.
of the biggest concepts of what I've found as a performer, as a dancer, is to be confident enough in yourself to be able to get on stage and perform. That's
Right.
one thing
True.
that you definitely need to have, this confidence. Where does, and there's this concept called Sringaram, which is what this whole podcast is about. And Sringaram is all about the love that you have within yourself that overflows and connects everybody to that. And when a performer has this sort of Sringaram within them, everyone's connected. It doesn't really matter how precise you're moving and
Right.
all that sort of stuff. The Sringaram just kind of embodies that whole space. But to get there, there has been, in my last 2 years, especially no, not last 2, last 4 years, I really kind of sat down and thought, how do you get to this point? Because I think when we were like, God, in our 20s, and I
Yeah.
was one, you used to call me a dancist because I was just so fanatical about dancing, and that was my religion, and Udal Manna Koyir Natyat, all that jazz. Um, and I was just like, but I still, although I practiced so hard and everything, the confidence never came. And that's something that, till date, like I still love dancing. I still watch people dance. I still do all sorts of things, but somehow, somewhere, I lost this confidence of performance. And I'm not sure I've lost it anymore. It might be there. I just haven't tried to go in there. And I really believe, you need to have a certain level of athleticism, all that sort of stuff, which is another topic altogether. But where is the Sringaram coming from? It's been my question for a very long time, and I've been kind of exploring. And it started off with, oh, how do I look? How is my body? How is my movement? Am I happy with who I am? What's my identity? Like all sorts of things that, brew within a person. And this applies to absolutely everyone. I found that, in Indian classical dance as a performer, as an actor, anything like that, it probably applies at a higher level where you have to go and perform it and share it. But this whole idea of Sringaram, I think, is within every single person. I feel that you're one person who carries it really well. And for that reason, the reason you seem to carry it really well is just being content with who you are. And
Definitely part
yeah,
of it for sure.
yeah.
I think that we as humans, right, we go through our own process, especially the closer you get to your midlife, right? The
Hmm.
harder it gets. The biggest squeeze, and that's why they call it the midlife crisis, right? Because
Yeah.
the biggest squeeze on a person is in that midlife, so the 40 to 55, 40, 45 to
Oh, yeah.
55, whatever
It's been a
that time.
roller coaster ride, I tell you.
Biggest squeeze because most people when they get here, it's not because it's an arbitrary time in life, right? I mean, shit, it could happen at the end of your life, it could happen at the beginning of your life, but why does it happen in the middle, right? And why is it a crisis, right? So it happens here because it's a squeeze. Now when you've gotten here, everything around you, now you look back and go, everything around me is not where it's supposed to be. I am not where I'm supposed to be. And that's
Mm,
where the crisis first starts because everybody, obviously, like kids have this vision of who they are about themselves. And that starts to change as you grow older, and then you get fixated at an anchor point. Okay, at the very least, this is who I am and this is where I want to be. Anything on top of that is fantastic. Anything less than that, I'm going to strive to it.
mm.
Two ways to look at it, right? So once you're there, days go by, weeks go by, months go by, years go by, because you blink and like 7 years are gone.
I
And you
know.
look back, well, I set that goal, I set that standard, and I am just not there yet.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, then you look around going, there's so much stuff happening in my life. I'm not entirely sure that I can get there. So now in your midlife, the reason it's a midlife crisis is because you're squeezed from the past and you're squeezed from the future. Your past, you look back and say, I've not gotten there. In the future, you look in there, I'm not so sure I can get there.
Yeah.
That's just a bad place to be. you
That is.
know?
That really
Right.
is.
That's why this age for everybody becomes a squeeze. And the most amount of responsibility that you'll probably have will be
Mm,
at this age.
mm.
Right? People who are married, people who have kids, people who have families, your parents are getting older, whatever. Like if you're married and kids, your kids are usually getting to a high school, sort of college age, which is the most expensive part of your life, like the most tumultuous part of your life with your kids,
Yeah.
because they think they know everything, and then and I'm not, for women, your bodies go through changes, hormonal changes, just huge, huge impact on mentality in life. So
Yeah.
there's squeeze from literally every side of where you are. The
Yeah.
entire everything around you is a squeeze, and this is the time where that's why it helps. It helps when you say to yourself, you know what, I am my life. I am the life, right? You and me talking here, this is life. I am it. Not my some ideal I have, not some goal I have, not some stretch I have, not some, none of that. I am life.
Mm,
I am my life. And that's all I can do, right?
mm,
Maybe I do well some days, I'll do bad some days. I'll do bad some weeks, I'll do great some years, but that's just who I am. If I am not who I am, there's nobody else who can be, which means I don't really exist anymore. Then what is the point of all of it? You are your life, not it's great. Like people will always look at you being, oh yeah, they've done this and they've done that. And the world will judge you on what you've done.
mm.
You should only judge yourself on who you are. In fact, you should not even judge yourself because that's just bad juju. There's no
It
point in
is,
judging.
really is. There comes a
Juju. You should,
time.
yeah, you are your life.
I think there's,
Because
especially when it comes to artists, and it's a real struggle in the arts industry to make it, this idea of making it. And then there's this idea of creating the art that you want to create. These are two different things altogether. But we kind of, especially in the arts field, we tend to judge ourselves quite harshly for how much progress you've made. And it's not like any other job where the trajectory of how much you progress is dependent on, you just riding up the ladder quite quickly after you do, you go to your 9 to 5 job, you get a promotion. That doesn't happen here. Here you have to just figure it out. You're kind of lost in the sea. A lot of people I know are lost in the sea and just trying to figure it out. And then there's this huge kind of depending on your age, all that sort of stuff, there's a huge judgment. How far have you done? What have you done with your life? And then to kind of take it back and
the answer should be none of your business.
exactly,
No,
right?
the point is my life, not your
Yeah.
life, my life, right? I mean, none of your business. If you ask me a question, and somebody
Mm,
asked me this maybe like a year ago, they're like, I see with the kids, you're doing all this great stuff, and you're taking them here, you're taking them there, and like, you're always with them, and you're doing this. That. I think you're a really good dad.
mm,
They said this to me, and I looked at it for a second. And I said, you know what? I don't think those things make me a good dad. I think fundamentally, I love my children. I want to be with my children. Ergo, I do
mm,
these things. It's not because I do these things makes
mm.
me a good dad. It's because I am a good dad. I am doing these things,
Yeah.
right? I think that's
Yeah.
a fundamental mistake. We do this with weight loss all the time. We
Mm.
say, because I am going to lose weight, I will become healthy.
Yeah.
Does not work. You are healthy
To be
first.
healthy. Yeah.
So, right,
Yeah.
I am already a good father. That's the mentality I have to come in with. I love my kids. I'm a great. I'm a good husband. I got to start there.
Mm.
Then everything I am. That's where it starts.
The
If
I
it doesn't,
am, exactly. That's a
no, it
concept
doesn't.
that you again introduced to me. This concept
Oh,
of I am
that's
being.
I will tie it back to the Bible. When first God
Mm.
shows up in the Bible, Moses asks this question. Moses says, God asked Moses to go do this massively great thing, like tell this, go to Egypt and ask the king to let the Israelites go, and that's like a million of them.
Mm.
And Moses is like, bro, seriously,
Mm.
this would be some bushwhack,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, 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 just do it. Then he says, fine. Who do I say you are? What is your name? Like, because there's so many gods at that point. Like Egyptians had like 70,000 gods or something like that. So then he's like, well, what do I go tell these people? Like, which God are you? And God says, I am that I am. I am who I am. Go tell them that. And he's
Mm-mm.
like, what do you mean? Like, go tell them that my name is I am who I am. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Simple
That
as
makes all the sense in the world, to be honest.
day.
Yeah.
And that's my philosophy about God as well. You cannot have an experience with God unless you had an I am experience with God, right? It is
Mm.
not, you have to have a true I am experience with Him, and you have to have a true I am experience with yourself. And that is very difficult, right?
Mm-mm. I
And
think,
it only
yeah,
gets worse. It doesn't get any better.
this idea of I guess in other words, or how I understand I am is in the being, like just be, and No, I suppose these definitions of who you are, the minute you start putting definitions, like you said, someone's perception and
I don't think
all that
you can
sort of
define.
stuff.
You can
Yeah.
define what you want to do. You can define, paths and processes and goals and all of that. And
Mm,
those should be external to who you are. Should
mm,
not define who you are. Right? What I do is a reflection of who I am. It is not the entirety of who I am.
mm. Oh yeah.
Cannot. It just cannot be, because if I am then truly focused on the shit that I've done and the shit I've accomplished, the shit I've not done, the shit I've not accomplished, then I'm just like worthless, right?
So
That's
true.
where
Exactly. You are worthless. It's just the things that you've done, yeah, have some value to it. That's so true. I was talking to a friend this morning actually, and he was going through a bit of a crisis and just about where he is in terms of his career and stuff like that as well. And yeah, this was that exact thing. It's like if you judge yourself on what you've achieved in life as opposed to who you are or just being and enjoying everything as a I call it like this idea of surrender, where when you do surrender to everything that is and kind of just be, and don't put that pressure of being anything, but just be nothing, which makes you everything, then you just enjoy life.
I
Yeah.
mean, you would, if you think about this, we give this advice as human beings to kids
Mm.
every day. Be
Yeah.
yourself,
I know,
you know,
right? Like, what is yourself?
have fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, your
Yeah.
niece, you will
Yeah.
never tell her, listen, you've got to like think about this. You have to make this plan. You have to do this. If you don't do this, you're just a shitty child.
Yeah.
Like, we never
No.
say that to our children. No child says it to themselves. We
Mm.
only do it to ourselves the older we get. And then because we become so like dark and twisted inside, we project that dark and twistedness to other people. And we're like, you
So
know
true.
what? If I'm gonna feel like shit, I'm gonna make you feel like shit.
So
And
true.
this cycle of shit just
I
perpetuates.
know we're all caught in a cycle of shit. Yeah. But it's also, I find like with South Asian parents, it's just like, oh, I have to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, that whole idea of like, and then they have to showcase who you are to their, at least in the previous generation, not so much, maybe not now, I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, oh, what will people say? Or what are you doing? Or, this whole image that you have to maintain, almost like you are a superstar, and so you have to maintain image, and I can only act on certain roles.
Superstar A doesn't care. அப்ப நம்மக்கு எதுக்கு care?
Then exactly. Um, Morgan, tell me some of the books that you've read that have really kind of changed you or your thought
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah, first and foremost is the Bible, the greatest
Of
book
course.
ever written, and that's the one that I read the most. There's been a lot of books. There's a great book by Max Lucado called Cast of Characters.
Hmm.
It just talks. It's just a fantastic book. I think everybody should read it. C.S. Lewis, any of C.S. Lewis's book. There is a book called Screw Tape Letters. It is a conversation between the devil
Mm.
to his subordinates.
Right.
It speaking about how they should go after humankind.
Yeah.
It is such, and it's Screw Tape is one of the devil's cousins, and the devil writes letters to Screw Tape. That's why it's called the Screw Tape. The name of the soldier devil, if you will, cousin devil is
Right.
Screw Tape. Screw Tape letter.
Right.
So he talks about all these things
Mm.
that the evil forces should do to bring down mankind. And the way C.S. Lewis has written it gives you such immense insight
Yeah.
into why we do this to ourselves and why we do it to others. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'll give you the smallest thing in that book that stood out to me the most, which insight that he got about this is amazing. He says, when you're in a new relationship, make note of the things that you absolutely enjoy about the other person, like the way they laugh and how they
Mm.
make you laugh and
Mm.
how they like brush your hand and like all of these beautiful
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Just make note of it, write it down.
Yeah.
30 years from now, he
Mm.
said, take that list and look at it again if you're going to be with that person. And he's like, I will almost guarantee that everything on that list is exactly the things that annoy you the most.
Yes. Oh,
Now the way they
wow.
laugh is like, this is shitty. Like, why is she laughing like this? I'm like, why is he touching me like that? I wish he would stop doing that. And
Yeah,
these are
yeah,
the exact same things that you almost fell in love with. And that is
yeah.
the absolute paradox of human beings. So it's a
Mm,
great read.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
I will definitely grab that one.
that's the way he's written. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Um, any of Malcolm Gladwell's books are amazing, right?
Mhm.
And then Adam Grant again is a very insightful writer that I would recommend.
Okay. 100%. I will definitely go and read those books. I've been kind of, what are the books? I think the one book that has changed everything for me was The Power of Positive Thinking.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, that was just for me, for someone who had kind of always thought negatively prior to, it was just a game changer. Like my entire life and personality flipped upside down, I think, after that book. Yeah. The other thing I've always wanted to ask you, you're an artist, but you've silently written some scripts and things like that. Now, why have you not gone into the arts? Like what went on there? And
that
we
is a
were
good
all
question.
waiting for that movie with you, and it just didn't happen because you trusted your friend instead of me. But
Right? I've trusted both of them. Both of them,
who are the
Judas.
both friends? Who are the both friends? Hello?
One I'm talking to, one I wish I'm not talking to.
Oh, really?
Both supposed to cast me in something.
No,
Next
that
lecture.
that was you didn't fund my film and it didn't happen. Okay, that's what happened there. I'm still waiting for the funding. No, but tell me, why did you not go into the arts?
I don't know. This is the great question. This is a question that I am probably vicariously living with my children. Like,
Yeah.
I've written what this is my third script with them, and just making these small movies with them, and sort
I
of
know,
getting
I
them in.
saw them. They were fantastic. They got pure talent. Just got
And
fast.
now, I don't know. That is, if there were regrets, and I'm not big on regrets, that would probably be one of it.
Yeah, yeah, because you had the whole package to go and act.
Or at least I forget about the package and all that shit. I mean, you never know what clicks and what doesn't click. But at least I wanted to, right? I had a
Yeah,
passion for it, and I did not pursue it. Hey, you live and you learn.
that's true, that's true. But you are also a very big encourager of arts and artists.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Well, at least me and Sudesh. That much I know. The people who you wanted to make a movie with. Yeah.
Oh, you have. I think
Um,
you do, right? I mean, all forms of creative expression
mm,
is should be welcome, right?
100%.
I love music. Uh, my kids play music. I encourage that quite a bit. They should, 100%. I think the expression of art, in whatever form it may be, right, is the lens the entire world should see the world. If they did,
Mm,
it would just be a far better place to be in.
so true. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? But anyway, I love the arts and I love cinema. There's no question about
Yeah. Yeah. And I really believe one day you're going to be a producer.
it. One day in front of the screen, not behind the
Yes.
screen,
Oh,
in the
okay,
screen.
okay, okay. A producer who's acting. Done. Bataclan. Um, what are the things that you'll tell your kids about life? Like if you were to say three main things, you have to tell them this. What are those three things that you have to tell them before you have to go into a different planet? Something.
uh, we do this every day. We do this every day in the morning, right?
Yeah.
It's the three P's, right?
What is
First
that?
P is uh, first P is purpose. You gotta have purpose, without which your life means nothing, right? So purpose is number one. Two, you have to proclaim your purpose. So I have a purpose, you have a purpose, my sons have a purpose that I believe is God given. Um, and so there is a actual verse in the Bible that we believe that it's Johan's purpose and Cyrus's purpose and my purpose. So first you have to get connected with it. It takes a while to get zoned into it, right?
Mm,
But to get zoned into it, one of the ways you have to do is you have to proclaim it. Everything you think, everything that comes to your mind can only manifest itself if you actually speak it. God said, let there be light, right? Thought can only become action if there is words to it. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Thoughts don't automatically become actions. There's no magic in it, right? So you have to proclaim it, whether you believe it or not, whether it's going to happen or not, whether how ridiculous it may sound, you have to proclaim it.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will all come to pass. So number two. Number three, you have to pray. You gotta pray it through, because there will be really bad times. There will be times you will not only question your purpose, you'll question your existence of life. You will question everything. You will question everybody around you. The world will deal with us like that because it is a fallen world. So you have to pray through it, right? So purpose, proclamation, prayer. If we stick to it, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. No, that's great. And you were the first person to tell me, because I used to be this real dreamer. I think I made my first film. Remember Parika? You remember
Yeah.
that? You saw that. You used to say some lines to me from that film. But yeah, no, I remember you were like, it's not just about dreaming, it's about making those dreams happen, and you can do that. And I think you were the first person to tell me that. And then I ended up going to film school because you were like, go to film
There you
school,
go.
go to film school.
Okay.
Yes, you were like my dad, back then. So, Morgan, where to from
You
here
look
for
at the end
you?
of
Like,
it.
hmm?
At the end of your life, if you can look back and say,
Yeah,
I have been a kind of sort of good Girija, you've done well for yourself. If
yeah,
I, on my last moments, look back and say, you know what, I've been a pretty decent Murugan.
yeah,
That's it.
that's true.
Nothing else.
That's
Nothing
true.
else to it.
And that last question for me is where to from here for you? Like, what's your plan going forward? And I know you laughed at this question as well.
If I had a plan, I wouldn't be sitting here in the first place,
I
right?
know,
So,
right? See? This is a great service you're doing because some people are going to benefit from this conversation. And yeah,
what is the plan? The plan, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I've thought about it that much. But I am also in that life squeeze that we talked about, right?
yeah.
The 45 to
Mate,
55.
time to go to the movies.
That's
This
right.
is your time. Let's do it.
uh, I don't know. I don't have a plan. I hope to have a plan at some point. But I have decided more than ever to lean more into myself,
Mm,
because I've learned so much about life, telling my kids about life,
mm.
because like we just talked about, right? You tell them one thing and you do the exact opposite for yourself, right? You tell them chase your dreams and you'll be like, shit, I'm gonna go to a 9 to 5 job. You tell them like be your true self and they're like, I'm gonna go please everybody and their mother, right? You tell them like don't take shit and then you eat shit for breakfast. I mean, that's exactly what we do.
So
So the
true.
more I tell my kids, the more I've started to realize what I should be doing,
Yeah.
who I should be. So every year, every 6 months, my kids and I and Roshni, we all like write up not goals, not in the traditional sense, like I am going to read 7 books or I am going to go and do this. Not in that traditional sense. We sort of write parts of ourselves that we're going to lean into. It's called the stop, continue. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. There are things that you got to start doing. There are still you have to continue doing, and there are things that you absolutely have to stop doing.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
start. Most people know what that is. Continue. Most people know what that is. Most people have no idea what to stop. So every year, at the beginning of the year, instead of making resolutions and goals and all of that, like stuff that nobody keeps, the statistics actually says it takes 27 days. That's it to
Yeah.
break a New Year's resolution. By January 27th, everybody's off. Done.
So true. Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
it takes.
Yeah.
Uh, in fact, it takes 21 days to form a habit, is what they say, but it doesn't last anyway.
No.
So we do this start, stop, continue. We write one for each of us, because anything more than one, maybe two, if it's that important, doesn't really stick. You have to start doing something. You have to stop doing something, and you have to continue doing something that you're already doing.
Yeah.
And then we check each other every 6 months and say, like, did we do it? Did we not do it? Does it even make sense? Do we have to change the whole thing? And that's the other thing, right? You cannot come in, you cannot box yourself.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Yeah.
Maybe, tomorrow, maybe I'm full-time actor. Maybe tomorrow
Why
I
not?
am
You
full-time.
just said, admitted on like
Who
some
knows?
recording that you might have a regret on that. So why regret? Just do it.
Kandipa. I know.
Yeah.
So don't
Next
box,
time India
don't
வந்துரு. பார்த்துக்கலாம்.
பண்ணிடலாம். தலைவர் சொல்ற மாதிரி முடிச்சிடலாம்.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing all that. Was there anything else you wanted to add on an end note?
I do
I
want
will.
to do that. I
Mm,
will tell you this
mm,
about uh, about seeing yourself in ways that you haven't seen yourself before. Okay, you specifically, in the world, of course.
mm,
But if you were to look at yourself from the eyes of an admirer, from somebody whose eyes light up when you come into the world, come into the room,
mm,
that's the perception you should have about yourself.
mm.
For you and me, if you saw yourself from me, you would think of yourself far higher than what you think of yourself today. And that is almost true for everybody. So find an admirer, find why they admire you, and take that to heart.
Yeah.
Don't find the judgy dog on the street and take that to heart.
I see many judgy, I would say it. So true, so true. Thank you. Thank you, not only for coming on this podcast and being the first person to be part of Sringaram, the podcast, as I say it again, but just being part of my artistic life. Like, honestly, I believe without your introduction in my life, the trajectory would have been very different.
I
And
don't think so.
I
I just
think
happen to
so.
be.
No, no, no. And I'll say because I really needed, and a lot of people have come into my life, such as yourself. I'd say you'd be the first. No, I'm not on first, obviously, but I suppose I was always taught how to do things, and there was always this strict
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of, you know, tradition of what I had to follow. But I think I started to own my art and my expression. And I think that came from a lot of stuff that you had said and introduced into my life. So super grateful for that. And yes, also a human being and a friend. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. First, I would applaud you for sticking to your path for so long. Not an easy journey.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculously difficult journey. Journey, as in like the arts itself. It's just a
As
really,
you've seen all
really
your friends suffer next to you.
no doubt. Number two, in that, right, you've sort of done well for yourself, whether you think that or not. Right? You've made enough impact. That's all you can ask for, right? And impact is not measured in quantity. It is only measured in quality, right? If I died and all I influenced was my two kids and my wife, I will be the happiest person in the world. I don't need to influence an entire village or a city or a town or a country or a nation. I don't need to do any of that stuff,
Yeah.
right? So you should know that your impact is immense
Thank you.
and you've done well for yourself. I am 100% positive, and I pray that you will do far more than you ever dreamt of.
Thanks so much, Morgan.
Yes,
Thank you so
thank you.
much. Ramanandri, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing
Thanks
your
for having
film and directing it too.
me.
Okay.
Control. ஒரு
Bye.
க்ளோஸ் அப்
Huh?
ஸ்லோ மோஷன் அவ்வளவுதான்
Done, done.
Finish.
Trishawa, heroine.
சரி, இதெல்லாம் வேணாமா ஒரு ஒய்ஃப் வீட்ல விட மாட்டாங்க
Oh, ஆமா. அவங்களே நடிக்க சொல்லிடலாம். No problem. Okay, cool. All
Okay.
right. Thanks so much,
சரி.
Morgan. Take care of